Hello, I'm Stephen Byess, and I'm delighted to welcome two distinguished musicians to join me today, flutist Brian Dunbar and composer Carlos Simon. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello, thank you.
Brian, a couple of years ago, you identified a deficiency in the repertoire for flute and orchestra, especially of composers of color, and you contacted Carlos, and I'm very curious, and I know our patrons will be curious to know how you met Carlos and what was your design and concept for commissioning a new work for flute and orchestra.
Yeah, well, thank you again for having me. Carlos and I met at the Sphinx organization, Sphinx Connect conference I believe it was 2020. It was the last in-person conference that they had just before the peak of the pandemic. And I heard the premiere of one of his string quartets. And I remember walking up to him afterwards and saying, that was such an amazing piece. Do you have any works written for flute? And at the time, he didn't have any. So I, kind of jokingly said, well, you can expect something from me. You can expect to hear from me. And then, as we know, the pandemic occurred, or at least the world shutting down, in a sense, began. And while I was sitting thinking about all of the gigs that I had lost, as many of us did, and all of the projects that I was unable to participate in, I decided to engage with Carlos and have a piece written and have something tangible and positive to come out of that experience for us.
And Carlos, your music is described in just a myriad ways of sweeping depth and scope and brilliant orchestration, and also being associated with social issues. Your ideas from the beginning of composing this work for Brian and introducing a new piece into the canon of music for flute and orchestra. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, to my knowledge, it was really a discouraging stat to hear that only one concerto has existed that composed by a Black composer, Ulysses K. And from that alone, I thought that, okay, here's something I can try to add to the repertoire. And representation does matter, especially in the classical space and in the arts for sure. And I think that as a whole, composers of color should be a part of the repertoire, a part of the canon, and I think as a whole, you look back 50 or 60 years from now, we can say this was happening this because this composer, this artist, this performer was doing this, and so it becomes a part of the history.
And you have created, Carlos, a dynamic, exciting, exotic, I could add lots of descriptors to this new work you've written titled Movements for Flute and Chamber Orchestra in 4 movements. Could you just tell us a little about that? And it's so exciting. It's difficult for me to not pour on lots of adjectives to describe these things, but I'd love to know about your concept from the beginning and how your voice came through in this concerto.
Yeah, well, sure. Well, it was really great working with Brian. I'm not the composer where I, go off and, just write on my own and just deliver the piece. I'm not that composer. I love collaboration, love back and forth. And, one of the things I asked Brian before starting the piece, like, is there something you want me to focus on with collaboration, that sort of thing? And then at that point, didn't have anything. But so I started off on my way and is writing music that I felt like lend itself to where I was creatively at the time. And it was like at the height of the pandemic. So I was in my feelings a lot, and thinking about, a lot of things, and understanding how thoughts have power and have control over your life, and understanding just how powerful our thoughts are. And wanting to put that into music, and thinking about the different types of the I guess the compartments of our lives. We have love with thoughts, and these things that are happening in our life. So I wanted to put that in the music, and of course through the entire process, sending excerpts of the music back and forth to Brian, and he's giving me feedback. And so it really was a wonderful process trying putting things together. And I just had the chance to listen to the recording that was done of the premiere, and it was like, it's over the moon just kind of hear it come to fruition. And I can't wait to hear it in person. So yeah, it was really a wonderful experience.
Wonderful. And Brian, you premiered this work last spring. Any comments you'd like to share about performing the work at its premiere?
Yeah, I premiered the work with the Hastings Symphony Orchestra in Hastings, Nebraska last April. And it was really great to introduce this new work to the community there in Hastings. I have a former peer from LSU who invited me, who introduced the piece to their music director and encouraged the invitation of my performing the work there. And it was really great. The comments that I got from the ensemble members, from the orchestra members, is that they really enjoy playing the piece. And I think that's really one of the best aspects of this piece, is that not only is it a wonderful, energetic, exciting work for the flute, but also the orchestra has a lot of play in the game as well. So it was really a joy working together with those musicians. And then also from the community, several members of the community and some of the high school students who came to the performance, they really spoke about their appreciation for this new voice and for this new energy that we're putting out with this work.
I'm so excited, Brian and Carlos, to present this work with the North Mississippi Symphony Orchestra, the Arkansas Philharmonic Orchestra, and the Portland Columbia Symphony Orchestra. 4 performances and 1 movement for a family sensory friendly program, or 5 performances over the next 2 months. So I think that we'll get to know this piece really intimately, and how nice it is to take it to different communities. 4 movements, loop it, think it, love it, move it. I said that out of order. But I'm so excited about this. And Carlos, your influences with all of these orchestras that I just listed have performed lots of works by Michael Doherty, who I know is one of your teachers and mentors at the University of Michigan. So I'm excited about this. I know the accessibility will be prominent for the patrons and also the students that come and hear this, which is one of the reasons why I'm so excited to write music that connects to the community, to our culture, perhaps plants a seed, as you said, to be seminal, to inspire others to do the same. It's a very exciting time. And Brian, thank you for conceptualizing this commission and contacting Carlos. I'm very excited. Any last parting words before we say goodbye?
And just thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. I appreciate it. We're looking forward to some music.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to all of our collaborations.
Thank you, Brian, and thank you, Carlos. And I look forward to chatting with our patrons and hearing their accolades after the performances as well.
Thank you.